Hey there, and welcome to the ADK channel. I, of course, am Dave, but there is no Andy or Kirk with me today as they are on other duties for the ADK channel. But who do I have with me today? I have the full band of Estranger. Welcome to the channel.
Hello.
Yes,
It's always weird because there's about like a 2-second delay from when I speak to when it comes through to your end. So it's always this little awkward pause when you introduce a band because everyone goes, hello. Hi.
I bet it's going to be even worse when we start answering questions because one of us is going to jump in, then another one's going to jump in, and we'll see.
We'll see how we get on. Anyway, right, it's great to have you on the channel. We obviously saw you 2 Sundays back at Metals to the Masses. Congratulations getting through on your heat.
Thank you.
Really interested in night of metal and rock, or as we said when we did your review, we're like, whatever it was that you played, because we really were unsure about the stylization of your band. And I'm definitely going to get into a bit more detail about that. But yeah, it was a great evening. We're going to go through the first few questions like we do with every band. So we've got the band name, Estranger. It's obviously to be estranged is with quite a negative connotation. So where did the name Estranger come from, and why did you pick it?
Yeah, I'll take this one. So yeah, basically the name it came from. So I used to live in a flat share in London, and I had 2 Spanish housemates, and one of them, like, her English wasn't that great. But basically, whenever there was something weird happened or something unusual, she would say like a stranger, like it's like stranger. I don't even sure what it is in Spanish, but it sounded to me. So it just became like synonymous to me with whenever there's something weird happening, it's like stranger. And then like you said, the other meaning, it has a bit of a double meaning to it as well. And yeah, I just thought it was a sort of cool name. And actually, I started off doing that before it was a band. I just had a Facebook page where I would just share, because I'm super into like nerdy stuff like mythology and bizarre things like that. So I had a Facebook page where I would share those kind of things or interesting things that I'd found. And then eventually, when starting the band, just use the same page and the same name. Really.
Well, good economy usage. So what about the history of the band? Can you take us through how the band kind of came together? And because obviously there's quite an eclectic stylization of influences coming into the band and stylization choices of how you approach music. So that seems like an odd one to sort of just sell it out and say that's the style you'll be. So it feels like there's lots of influences have come in. So do you want to take me through how the band kind of came together then?
Yeah, I guess I can take that one. So I think, what was it, like 2017? I think I was in another band at the time. But I was just doing vocals in that band, but I was looking to play guitar because I'd never played guitar in a band before. So I was just browsing, I think it was browsing joinmyband.com, the website where random people list, like, they're looking for musicians. And I think 90%, if not more, of the stuff on there is just, not the best. It's not the best kind of, I'm looking for something where someone's actually put out some demos or something for you to listen to. That really hooked me in, and I think that's when I first listened to Theo's demos. I was just like, wow, this is something completely different. The style of it is just so crazy and out there. The choices he's making in terms of like chord progressions and that kind of stuff was just really interesting to me. So I thought I had to just reach out, and we went for a pint and just figured out, okay, we're going to need more people to join the band. Who do we know? So I think we hooked up with another bassist from another band that I was friends with, and he was our original bassist for a while. And then I think Manny joined soon after that, didn't you? Not too long, I think.
Through Join My Band as well. I was in another band at the time as well, and these guys, they just contacted me, and I thought, oh, this is really unusual, but I can definitely drum on this. So
Okay. And so from a drumming point of view, because I'm a very much, as a drummer myself, I'm not as an eclectic drummer, as I'm just very kind of solid rock, 4/4 rhythms. That's because I'm just locking in my head. I'm thinking ahead of where I'm going. There is no way on earth I could play what you play on drums, because my brain would not comprehend it. Is this something that you've always played to that style, or was this sort of a different direction when you joined the band of stuff that you hadn't really kind of gone down that route before?
I guess most of the stuff I've been playing before is similar, but not to this extent. And then most of the stuff I listen to is on this style mostly. Like one of my biggest recent references are Delta Sleep. I have the poster there, actually, and that drummer is really like intricate, and like even though they're really clean, and I guess I'm taking a lot from them. One of my favorite bands is Refused, so I've always played kind of on that sort of weird wave of drumming.
Yeah. And do you as a drummer, last drummer question, because I have to ask this from a drumming point of view, but do you actually like plan out or map out your drums, and then are you running a map in your head as you're playing, or are you able to just vibe with the music? How does that work for you?
I pretty much just vibe with what they write and try to add in like intricate parts in between. But most of the times the writing process, like they come up with the whole song, so it's a lot easier for me to just jump in and then just oh okay, I have an idea for this part, I'll do that, and then so it's kind of planned out for me in a way, structure wise, and then I'll just, I don't know, work on it a little more. Yeah.
But I think the drums that we give you when we're writing the song, the drums that we start off with are fairly like simple and straightforward, aren't they?
Oh.
And it goes into the Manny processor and comes out the other end, and it's completely crazy. So.
Yeah, we definitely need the Manny magic sprinkled on.
I mean, I'm going to ask about bass now, Sam, so I'm going to bring you into the conversation here. So in a lot of cases with kind of rock bands where they're playing rather simplistic sort of chord structures, that leaves loads of room for the bass to kind of go off and do its thing. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, in a lot of these songs, there's a lot going on guitar-wise as well. There's a lot of percussive elements going on. So how does that work with you for writing bass lines and coming up with what you're playing?
Yeah, so... And when I joined, I actually, a lot of the reason I joined was just because the bass lines that were written were like really good, and they fit in really well. I think it's kind of a lot of just knowing the song and like knowing, when you can kind of fit in a little twiddle here and there.
Right.
It's just about kind of picking your moments and like knowing what you're going to do. Well, I say knowing, like having a rough plan of what you want to do.
Yeah. It's not like you're going to be sitting there doing 8 bars of downward picking on E or whatever, is it? Really, in this sort of band, it's not really
that easy in this.
Thing I'd expect to see.
No,
so is there a principal songwriter in the band who comes up with the bulk of the tracks, or how does it work with the songwriting process?
They're probably Theo mainly, but we all kind of put little bits in here and there.
So. Take me through a process of a songwriting session. How would a new song come to the table in this band?
So I guess I quite often will just have like a session just jamming on the guitar, and then I just from there, if ever I come up with something, say, oh, that bit sounds cool, I just kind of save that and we have a big sort of library of riffs and little sections. Yeah, and then when putting a new song together, if there's one bit that we really like, just work on that. A lot of just trial and error, kind of stitching things together. So just writing all the sort of guitar parts first and try and come up with a bit of a skeleton structure of a song.
Right.
And then once we've got something ready, obviously share it with the other guys, and then everyone just does their own thing on their own part and adds their own bits in as well. But the other guys contribute a load as well. Pete's written a load of songs as well, and sometimes we do a big weekend. Me and Pete will just sit down and try and thrash something out. So a few different ways really.
Okay, because that word stitching things together is such an interesting way of putting it, because that really was part of the vibe I got when I was watching the performance, because you're kind of going from one part of a song and you're like, okay, I'm getting it. Whoa, what happened there? You're in a completely different vibe going on. It works because it transitions well, but you're kind of going you're not expecting it.
That's really cool, because that's kind of how that's how I kind of view the music, like visually, is like a big, I don't know, like, zombie stitched together ball of crazy monsters, stuff just like, coming out of this big thing. You're just like, oh my God, what the hell is that coming towards me? That's how I kind of view the songs most of the time.
Because in a lot of cases with a band, you'll get the first song from a band and then you know what you're going to get for the rest of the set. Because the style will kind of lock in there. It'll be a rock song. You'll kind of you'll get an intro, you'll get a verse, you'll get a chorus, you might get another verse, chorus, you'll get some sort of breakdown, and then there'll be a bigger chorus, maybe doubled up. There'll be a fairly formulaic track structure to it. With you guys, there wasn't any of that kind of core base, like element of repetitive structure that you would expect to see. And it was something that, whether it's your thing or not, if like for Estranger, if Estranger isn't even your sort of style of music, it's a band that I always I would say to anyone, you should go and see at least once just to experience, because even if it's not your style of music, you should see it to experience that whole live performance element, because there is so much going on. You would need to sit down and look at it and watch it a few times just to try and understand the structures of what's going on. And Kirk mentioned like mathcore or math metal, and it's very much how I felt when I first ever heard bands like Mudvayne coming out, and just trying to work out time signatures on the drums. I remember trying to do a cover on drums of a Mudvayne track. I gave up after an hour. There was no way I was playing that because I had no idea what he was doing or what time signature he was doing it in. But it's an incredibly interesting process to follow, and that's what I felt when I watched you guys
that bassist
on stage.
Is amazing, by the way.
Sorry.
That bassist is awesome. One of my favorite.
He's an amazing bass player. So we've got to the point where you've got tracks out there. So where are we as far as plans for music coming out? What's the kind of plans going forward with Estranger at the moment?
Well, we are working on some new tracks, which we are hoping to release as an album. We don't know when. We're just in the very, very early stages. We're still like trying to figure out what songs are gonna go in and what are we even playing. But yeah, that's probably the plan.
And will you be doing like the traditional kind of old style of? I don't say it's the old style. I still like this way of getting up, putting a single out, and doing an album launch, which I like because I like to digest the whole album's worth of material.
Right.
It's a story. It's a piece of work that will tie in. Whereas there are other bands who drop singles and do 4 or 5 singles through the year to keep people interested, as they put it. And I'm kind of like, well, to be honest, personally for me, I lose interest that way because I've moved on to another band by the time they've dropped another single, and I'd much rather have the whole thing. But are you kind of doing that way then, sort of getting out, maybe do a single release of a whatever you think is going to be the catchy song and then put the whole album out, or just going to go straight out with get the songs recorded, get an album together and just launch it?
Yeah, I think we haven't quite, we're just talking about that now. We haven't quite decided how we know we're going to do an album. We're just not quite sure because we've got some old songs that we really like that we don't have a good recording of as well, and whether we put those in the album as well or we might just do all new songs. So we haven't quite, we're just figuring that out really. But yeah, there'll be something coming, but in terms of the structure of it, we're not sure yet.
Not sure.
Pretty sure it's going to be an album though, because I think like thus far we've just been doing, as you say, kind of, we've got a couple of EPs, but mostly it's just singles that we released. And I think for me personally as well, I just, as you say, I'm an album guy. I often I'd love to just put an album on from a band and like, listen to that while I'm working or whatever. So I really wanted to produce something that's, a longer body of work, more meat on the bone.
As you said, is the story, the experience of the whole complex of it. It tells something, I feel like, more than like every single. So yeah.
So I've seen a band do it before where they dropped a single and they were recording it a single at a time over a space of about a year and a bit. And they dropped the EP at the end, and you listen to the 5 tracks that were on the EP and they have no correlation to each other. The quality's changed. The sound of the band has changed because it's been over a year. And they've changed as musicians, so that it doesn't really give you that moment in time. Whereas an album gives you a moment in time of a band. And that's why you see some of these massive bands that have dropped like 15 albums have always changed, because they change as musicians. And I like that idea of seeing what that moment in time is of a band. So what else have you got left on for the rest of the year? So we're now in April, mid-April. You've obviously got the quarterfinals of Metal to the Masses coming up. What else is on the pad for Estranger for the rest of this year then?
So we just played a show last night actually at Post Bar in London in Seven Sisters. So I think there's a promoter in London called London Music Showcase, and the guys, we played quite a few gigs with them, and they're really good events to play at. So I think we're lined up to play some more shows with them later in the year, but we haven't quite got the dates announced yet. Obviously we've got the next round of Metal to the Masses, and then we're hoping to be playing some gigs with our friends in Indifferent Engine.
Yes.
So we've been chatting to those guys. So yeah, we don't have quite any firm plans at the moment, but yeah, quite a lot of things on the horizon. Yeah, and then really trying to focus on this recording. Yeah, getting together and getting some songs finished off and recorded really. So.
Well, I think you and Indifferent Engine on a bill is definitely experience. And they're the other band that I always say to people, whether you like them or don't, you've got to go watch Indifferent Engine and experience a live performance by them as well. So that will be definitely something for everyone. If you're watching, if you haven't seen them yet, go check out when you guys are playing. It'll be definitely good to see that. But just wanted to say a big thank you for coming and chatting to me. Love to find out about how you put these songs together and obviously how it also will work for you. And I just want to wish you the best of luck in your quarterfinals for Metal to the Masses at Club 85 Hitchin. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's great.